What's up, Dork Squad? It's Nintendork back with another video, and today I'm going to be doing kind of a couple different things. So first, I have seen the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and I really want to talk about my thoughts on it. I'm going to be doing non-spoiler, and a little bit later on I'm going to be doing spoilers. So spoiler alert, I guess. But then after that, I have with me here the Rosalina and Luma's and Luma and Mario amiibo that released literally the day before the movie. So don't go anywhere, I will be unboxing these after my spoiler section of the video. And with all of that said, let's get into it. So right off the bat, I want to say Super Mario Galaxy is a very special game for me. And if you've watched my channel for any amount of time by now, you would know this is my favorite game of all time. I love both Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2 just about the same. I think I will always prefer Super Mario Galaxy just because of the ambience and atmosphere. It's a lot more calming in tone, and whenever it was announced that we would be getting a Super Mario Galaxy movie, I was on cloud 9. However, once the marketing started to roll in, it started to concern me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I made a video not too long ago talking about the marketing of the Mario Galaxy movie and how I just had some concerns for it, and after watching the movie, I think some of those concerns were valid. Now, this is the spoiler-free section of the video. I won't be spoiling anything major, at least that hasn't been used in the marketing, so no worries there. But I am happy to report that there is a decent amount of Mario Galaxy representation in this movie, but I just don't think there was enough. And I'll get to that later, but for right now, I kind of want to talk about my thoughts on the movie. I have seen it twice now, and I feel a little more confident in the way I feel about it, because I'm watching this as not only someone who is very critical when it comes to movies, but also a Nintendo fan, the targeted audience. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't the hugest fan of the first Mario Bros. Movie. I do think it was a lot of fun, and it adapted the games very well, but at the same time, whenever that movie first released, I was kind of hoping for a bit more. I was kind of hoping for a little bit of a deeper story, and honestly, better pacing. Over time, though, it has become easier to watch, and honestly, really enjoyable. But at some point, I just had to accept that these movies weren't going to be very deep, and were going to be very Easter egg heavy with simple plots and motives. That being said, I went into the Mario Galaxy movie kind of expecting the same out of the first movie, and my expectations were pretty low, I'm not gonna lie. Which is sad, because I really was looking forward to this at first, but with all the marketing, I kind of just got the vibe that this really wasn't gonna be an adaptation of the Mario Galaxy games, more of just like its own thing, like the Mario Galaxy movie, not the Mario Galaxy game, you know what I mean? And that is pretty much what we got. Now, it could be because I watched Project Hail Mary the same day, like literally right before my Galaxy Showtime, and my expectations were honestly higher for Project Hail Mary because I was a fan of the book, and I read it not too long ago, and I actually walked out of that movie disappointed. I know it's been getting a lot of glaze on the internet, and I know a lot of people have been loving it and saying it's really book accurate, but I'm not gonna lie, I kind of disagree. So I walked out of that movie pretty disappointed. So whenever I watched the Mario Galaxy movie, I think I had a better time with that than I did my most anticipated movie of this year. Anyway, just a random tidbit of my interests outside of Nintendo. This is a really good book, by the way, and you should read it if you haven't already. So again, without spoiling anything, what did I think of the Super Mario Galaxy movie? It's also worth noting that I did read some early reviews before watching the movie, and people were trashing on it, saying that it was like lightning fast pacing and no chances to catch your breath, and blah blah blah, plot made no sense, they were having a hard time to follow. I disagree heavily. Like, I'm not gonna say that those aren't valid points and criticisms, because yeah, I do think that stuff is definitely an issue, but I think people are like way overblowing it. There are slower scenes in this movie. I do think they took the criticisms from the first movie and tried at least a little bit to improve them for the Super Mario Galaxy movie, but not the most. Like, they definitely are still issues, but they're not as bad as people are making them out to be. Whenever I watched this movie, I really didn't have a hard time following the plot, but I do think it was a little over convoluted and had a couple of unnecessary subplots. Like I said, I've seen this movie twice now, and I think the first couple of acts are fine. There are a few instances that move the plot along that really make no sense, and it's kind of nonsensical. Like, you know that one scene from the first Mario movie where Mario, Peach, and Toad are heading out on their adventure, and they have to have a reason for why they're going. So as they're heading toward the warp pipe, one of the Toads asks, who's this? And Peach is just like, he's not important. There's a few things that happen like that, and it's annoying, but I do think they did a better job of that this time around than the last, if that makes any sense. I also wouldn't go as far as saying that there is no plot here or that the plot is paper thin. I think there was a little more weight to this plot than there was the first movie, but I also don't think I necessarily like the plot that they went with for this movie. I also have heard the stupid criticism that it's like a bunch of cutscenes put together. That's not true either. I feel like it deserves a little more credit than that, and I'm being a little negative here, but overall, I don't think this movie is as bad as people are trying to make it out to be, and that's all I'm really getting at. This movie, as like a casual moviegoer, I don't think a lot of people will enjoy it if they haven't played Mario games, and in a lot of ways, it's very comparable to the likes of the Sonic movies now, and definitely Five Nights at Freddy's. There are a bunch of obscure Mario references, even references outside of Mario. Like there's just a little bit of everything for anybody who's played any Nintendo game at any point. There's always an aha moment or something to put a smile on someone's face. Like there's a moment that was in the trailer where Mario and Luigi are riding through Toast Arena Town on their bikes, and Mario like jumps and does a trick, and if you've played Mario Kart, you would love that reference. There's just a little bit of everything, and I love it. I also think the animation was really solid. This is probably even better animation-wise than the first movie in a lot of ways, and I am all here for it. They got really creative for a lot of the shots, and the choreography was also really stunning to watch. I've also heard that there are a lot of references, and it's more like keys dangling in front of a baby, and like, yeah, there are a few things that happen like that, but overall, it's just game mechanics, and I don't know. I think it works for the Mario Galaxy movie. I feel like there were more. I say this lightly, and this opinion might change after I watch the Mario Galaxy movie more and more, especially after I watch the first and second one back to back, but I feel like there are more moments like that in the first movie, to be honest. Especially because a lot of the way that they get into the situations they're in the first movie don't make a lot of sense either. Now moving on, there is one thing I want to talk about. I know this is the non-spoiler section of my video, but I'm going to give you guys a chance to click off because I will be spoiling a certain character that is in the movie, and this has been officially revealed by Nintendo and Illumination, literally just days before the movie release. Why did you do it? But I'm going to give you guys just a few seconds to click off, so if you don't want to be spoiled and you want to go in absolutely blind, definitely just click off the video. And yeah, so assuming everyone's gone that doesn't want to be spoiled, and if you're still here, you already know what I'm about to say, but Fox McCloud is in this movie. Genuinely though, why did you spoil it, Illumination? Nintendo? What's up? I understand getting the hype train going, but just a couple days before the movie released? What were you thinking? If they did this just a few months ago, or even when the movie was first announced, I could have understood that, but all they needed to do was just wait a week and then drop the poster, because yes, Fox McCloud in this movie is more of a supporting role, but to be honest, he doesn't really have anything to do, because no faster than he shows up, he's gone, just like that. And he does come back, and he comes back again, and he comes back again, but the whole time, he's kind of doing a whole bunch of nothing but sitting over there and looking cool. So, yeah, Fox McCloud looks awesome in this movie, and I love him. I love everything about him. Glenn Powell voicing him, brilliant. Brilliant casting choice, but why? Fox McCloud also stood out to me a lot more in this movie than I really thought he would, because I'm not gonna lie, I would really love to see a Star Fox movie, and Glenn Powell at this point really wants to make one, so go for it. Something else I haven't touched on earlier is Rosalina really isn't in this movie a whole lot, and I've heard a lot of people say that Fox McCloud has a lot more screen time than her, and I don't really think that's true, and if he does, it's by a very small margin, because Rosalina has about 10 minutes or so of screen time. I think Brie Larson confirmed that herself. And she's actually really good in the role, by the way. I feel like I should mention that. But, I mean, Fox only has like maybe 8 or 9 lines, if that. So I think it's fine. There were just a lot of Rosalina fans really angry at Fox for kind of no reason. And I get it. He kind of invaded my Super Mario Galaxy movie, but whatever. he looks awesome. I love it. Anyway, other than that, I think the only other thing I want to talk about, two things. The music was really good. I loved it, but I do think the soundtrack to the first movie was a lot better. And I say that because I love Brian Tyler's score, it's amazing, and there are a lot of obscure Mario references in the score kind of woven in, but it's more of just little motifs. And I say that because a lot of the music pulled into the score of this movie are only played for like just a few seconds, and then it either changes to another track or motif from another Mario game, or it's just gone, and then we get the movie score back. So I don't know. I feel like we just had a little bit more of a chance to sit and resonate with some of the tracks in the first movie opposed to this one. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about that in my spoiler section. Other than that, the only other thing I really want to talk about is the pacing of this movie. Again, like I said, the first act, fine. The second act, it gets a little dicey, but I still think it is fine. But there's a point in there, which I'll talk a little bit more about in my spoiler section of this. The pacing kind of just falls apart, and they do have a lot of subplots in here that were juggled pretty nicely, I think, up until a certain thing happens, and then it's like they just didn't know how to end it and tie them all together. So it's very convoluted, and by the time you get to that epic third act conclusion, the movie's just wrapped up like that. And that, like, genuinely, I was kind of surprised. I was like, are we really rolling credits right now? But yeah, so movie I think was fine overall. I am a little sad we didn't get as much Galaxy as I personally would have wanted, and I think it's a little weird that they kind of marketed the Galaxy games and Amiibo alongside the movie. Just kind of led to a little bit of a mixed signal, in my opinion. But I went in expecting this to kind of be a celebration of the 40th anniversary of Mario, as they stated in the direct, and that's pretty much all this is. There's really not a whole lot of Galaxy. There's a lot of Odyssey, Mario Bros 2, Mario Land, just random pulls, which is fine, but I don't know. a lot of thoughts about this movie. But I have already ordered the Steelbook, and I will be awaiting it whenever it eventually releases. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for my spoiler-free section of this video. There are 2 post-credit scenes. I do think that they could have done a little bit more with them, but again, I'll talk about that in just a few minutes. So with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and jump into my spoiler thoughts. But if you haven't seen the movie yet and you want to watch me unbox these guys, just skip to the timestamp right here, and you can see that. So yeah, let's, for those of you that are skipping to that timestamp, let's get into the unboxing. And for those of you that are sticking around for my spoiler thoughts, let's talk about that. Okay, so it is spoiler talk time. Wow, there is a lot to talk about. So I do think the movie had a decently strong start. You know, we get to see Rosalina at the Comet Observatory being all motherly and telling her Luma's a bedtime story. I do think I would have preferred, instead of her like kind of recapping the first movie, what if she would have been like telling the story of her and Peach, since this is a spoiler section, being sisters, and like just the story that we end up finding out later on, but Peach reads it instead by herself. Like I feel like that would have been a stronger opening for the movie, but that could just be me. Rosalina gets kidnapped and she's pretty much benched for the rest of the movie until like the literally very end, basically as soon as credits are rolling. And I wish we could have seen more of her, but I'm also, I understand why we didn't, because even in the Galaxy game, she's not really present. Like she's kind of just on the observatory doing her own thing, and that's that. We then cut to Mario and Luigi in Tostarena Town, and I really love that the Tostarena theme was playing, but kind of what I was saying earlier, and how like I feel like we kind of just got little teases of the themes playing throughout this movie. It literally, like, the Tostarena theme played for maybe 2 seconds, and then it was gone, and then it played like one other time, and then it kind of just faded back into like a generic movie score. And that kind of just keeps happening throughout the film. Like, at one point, at the very end, we got Gusty Garden Galaxy playing during that giant epic battle whenever Mario, Yoshi, and Luigi were fighting Bowser and Bowser Jr. We got an amazing rendition of Gusty Garden Galaxy, but it played for literally just a few seconds, and then it was gone. And I don't even think it finished. It just kind of, like, faded into something else. And that kept happening throughout the movie, and I really wish we could have just gotten a little bit longer to listen to some of these tracks, but that's all I was kind of trying to say there. Speaking of the soundtrack, this movie really didn't have any licensed music in it, so I'm happy to report that. There were like maybe 1 or 2 at the beginning, and they were so low-key you don't even really notice, so it was fine. And then everything else, there were a couple of montages where they really could have included it, and maybe they would have if there wasn't the criticism of the first movie, but I think it was handled a lot better this time around. Happy to report. But yeah, we get to see Yoshi, and Donald Glover was pretty good as Yoshi. I found it hilarious that he reached out to Nintendo themselves and was like, yo, if Yoshi's gonna be in this movie, I'm gonna be the voice of it. And same with Glenn Powell. He was amazing as Fox. I loved it. On the topic of voice actors though, I'm not gonna lie. I know Chris Pratt gets a lot of hate, but I feel like nobody has talked about Anya Taylor-Joy. I loved everybody in this movie. I loved the voice actors in the first movie, and I love the new additions in this movie. But Anya Taylor-Joy, in my opinion, is just not good, frankly. No offense to anyone that does like her in this role, but I just feel like she has no emotion when she delivers lines, or hardly any at all. Like it just kind of feels like there's barely any range there, and I don't know if it's her fault, because I love her in so many other roles, don't get me wrong. I don't know, I noticed it in the first movie, but I thought it was just the way Peach was animated, and just the difference, like the vast difference of movie Peach and game Peach, and just like the more girl boss approach. I don't know, but this movie kind of just confirmed that it really is just Anya Taylor-Joy. So anyway, she doesn't really feel like Peach, and I feel like she just kept kind of pulling me out a little bit. She doesn't feel like Peach. Voice acting aside though, talking about the subplots and things moving a little too fast at times, there was one point in the movie where they were talking about, what do we need to do? Do we need to go out on an expedition and go find Rosalina? And Mario and the Toads are just like, no, we can't do that. And Peach turns around and is just like, Toad, pack our things. And they just head out. And I kind of think that's sad, because we could have had this really cool moment where they all head out on an expedition and we get this really cool Mario Galaxy theme playing as they're flying through space. And that only really happened one time, kind of toward, like, right at the very end as well. And yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of just dreaming of what a Mario Galaxy movie could have been like, and it's a little sad. Also, the casino scene. I eat those type of scenes up. I love me a good casino scene. And Jump Up Superstar playing, that was awesome. It was a standout, but kind of random at the same time. That was the only other scene. That and the dinosaur planet could have been cut. Because like they really marketed up the Mario Bros 2 Wart and Birdo, but that really didn't serve any. Wart really truly just served nothing to the plot at all. He was basically just Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars. I don't know, it didn't make a lot of sense, and I feel like the movie would have been fine without it. Probably even benefited without it. But yeah, either that or they just should have made more important plot points happen there. We did get to see Penguin Toad though, and that was amazing. And Giant Peach was cool. But just instances like that, especially later on Honey Hive Galaxy, when Bowser's like repenting and he's like, take me instead, I need to go. And Queen Bee is just like, okay. It's just kind of like little things like that. It's like, it's kind of funny, but it's also like, come on now. I'm not trying to nitpick too much. I just am very critical when it comes to movies, and it's hard to separate that from my Nintendo fan sometimes, especially in cases like this. And it really was for the first movie as well. But I've grown to really like the movie, and I appreciate it a lot more now than I did when I first watched it. But yeah, I don't know. I really hope that they really fix these few issues in the next movie, because there most certainly will be one. Anything else I want to talk about? There was a joke where Luigi and Yoshi are kind of like pushing Mario to talk about his feelings with Peach and explain how he feels. And he was gonna give her a gift for her birthday, not birthday, and they're kind of like making fun of him. And Mario's all like, can't a guy just give his best buddy a gift for her birthday? And it absolutely made me laugh in the theater, because not too long ago Nintendo kind of like friends on Mario and Peach, and there were two jokes like that in this movie. Brother went in for a handshake, man. Wow. Secondhand embarrassment. The cameos in this movie were also pretty clever and a lot of fun. We did get Pikmin in this movie. It's Miyamoto's personal mission to put Pikmin in literally everything Nintendo, so you're succeeding, brother. Fox McCloud is also in this movie, and he is awesome. Probably one of the standouts, even though he kind of doesn't really have much to do. He kind of just shows up, and Peach and Toad are just like, who are you? And he's like, don't ask me that question. I'm Fox McCloud. I'm from the Lilat system. I'm going around doing barrel rolls. And he's just kind of like having this whole anime montage section, and it's kind of cool, but it's also kind of random, because no faster than he shows up, he's gone, just like that. But yeah, they're 100% setting up for a Star Fox movie, and I am looking forward to that. I'm probably more of a Star Fox fan now than I ever have been, because I've never really been a huge fan of it, and most of the games aren't the best, but I'm currently playing through Star Fox 64 right now, and I am loving it. So, also, I do think Fox was a little out of place in this movie, as cool as he was. He just, of all the characters they pulled from, he was so out of place. Mr. Game & Watch also makes an appearance in this movie, and it was very clever the way Luigi was just kind of like using Bowser's paintbrush to draw, and he's like, I'm not very good at drawing, you know that. And Mr. Game & Watch is kind of the MVP of that fight. He literally is the one that takes out Dry Bowser. Anyway, what else is there? Really a lot of what I would want to talk about is kind of like at the very end. I thought Bowser and Bowser Jr., I had mixed feelings on them, I'll say that. So I do think the biggest issue I had with this movie, above all else, was the way Bowser and Bowser Jr. were handled. So Bowser is obviously being like a nice guy now. He's being friends with Mario and Luigi, and he's like really good friends with Luigi, doing like a book club with him and everything. And like throughout the movie, he's just like begging Mario to make him big again. And finally he like pisses Mario off enough where he's just like, ah, you're not even you worthless, pathetic plumber. And that just like triggers Mario for whatever reason. Genuinely did not think it was gonna happen, but it did, probably just to save time. I don't know why they couldn't have just had it to where like Bowser got hurt on the crash from the castle or something. Just something else, but I don't know. But yeah, then Bowser's big, and he's still nice to him. They're like bros now. But then they meet the Queen Bee, and he offers up himself in Mario and Luigi's place so that they can continue on their mission. And while he's out in the mines, Bowser Jr. shows up and kidnaps him, and from that moment on, he's kind of just like being turned evil again by Bowser Jr. Like, imagine being peer pressured by your son. Like, that's kind of crazy. And I really wasn't a fan of that plot, because I feel like a lot of people are saying Bowser Jr. was like handled really well in this movie, and I don't necessarily disagree, but I think having Bowser Jr. kind of persuade Bowser to be evil again, like, I know their point was Bowser was kind of being reminded of who he was through Bowser Jr., but it really just kind of came across as Bowser Jr.'s bossing his dad around. And that's literally what was happening. Like, Bowser was like pleading for him to not hurt Mario and Luigi and asking his permission on literally everything. So I just kind of thought it was a little dumb, but at least they got like the father-son relationship right, in the way of Bowser is canonically a good dad. And I really loved, honestly, might even be my favorite scene in the movie, whenever Bowser's giving Bowser Jr. the little puppet show and he's like acting it out and being like super into it. I loved that. It was amazing. Cinema. Absolute cinema. But I don't know. It just, everything else didn't work for me. We did get that really cool scene at the very end where there was the Mario Maker reference. Bowser Jr.'s all like, you're about to meet your maker. And he's like making the course, and it keeps cutting to like a 2D filter of Mario and Peach running through this course. And it was just so much better than the first movie, where we get to see Mario do that training course. It worked better, and it made sense within the balance of the universe. So good job on that one. I also really love the scene where Mario grabs the parasol and uses the blast from the bombs exploding to blast themselves up. Made for a really cool epic explosion scene, and I, when done right, always love those. As for unnecessary subplots, the one that a lot of people will be talking about, myself included, is the one scene where Bowser Jr. turns Mario and Luigi into babies, and we get to go to the Cascade-esque planet. That was so dumb. It made no sense to the plot, and it kind of just felt like they were wanting to shoehorn in a Yoshi's Island reference. So, I guess Baby Toad was also there. But I just, the only thing, I think it was Botox Games was talking about Mario and Peach being not frustrated, kicking dirt. I really did love that scene, but it was kind of like, at what cost? You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of added unnecessary runtime that could have been used somewhere else. But that's just me. The bit was still fun-ish. It was kind of funny, but also, why? But that then leads into the final battle with Bowser, and I have a hot take. I kind of feel like this should have been the ending to the first movie, you know, the Mario Bros. Movie, because they were 100% pulling from the Mario Bros., like the first Mario Bros. Game, where you have to get to the axe and then Bowser falls into the lava. That would have been such a good ending for the first movie, and I'm like, why? Why didn't we get that? But yeah, I don't know. It's like they wanted Bowser Jr. to be the antagonist, but like they also wanted Bowser to still be the antagonist, and I just would have preferred if his arc was more consistent and he was more of a good guy now. Or if they were going to go the route they did, They should have just made it to where he was just kind of playing Mario and Luigi, and like his true end goal was to get to Bowser Jr. and still turn against Mario and Luigi. But like, no, he like straight up disrespects the Butt Club and everything. Brother, why? How dare you? And he's like blasting fire at Peach, and it just kind of doesn't make any sense. But other than that, I think the only other thing I really want to talk about is the kind of lore drop that a lot of people aren't talking about as much as I think they should be. And that's the fact that we now have confirmation, at least in the movie universe, that Peach and Rosalina are sisters. So, Matt Pat confirmed wrong, I guess. I don't know how this makes sense. It was definitely hinted at in the first movie. And again, I still wholeheartedly believe that this should have been the opening story that Rosalina was telling Blumas. I think it would have set up quite nicely and had a lot of had more of an emotional impact going forward, because I love whenever movies start out like it tells me that they have a good story, they have an actual story they're trying to tell me. And yeah, recapping the first movie and having a bunch of Lumas on screen acting out what happened didn't really work. But yeah, I thought it was cool. Besides just like they were like incredibly vague about it, saying, oh, Rosalina had this sister named Peach and they had to run from this evil force, and it's just like, okay, but like, who? Are we just gonna not talk about it? So I don't know, it was kind of vague, and I wish there would have been more weight there. But again, I've accepted already that we're not going to get actual good movies like the Lego Movie is an example I see used a lot, and it's just so true, because they found a way to take a beloved IP, put it into the format of a movie, and also give us a good story for all ages, mind you. And that's my problem with these Mario movies, is that separating myself from being a Super Nintendo fan, I just see the potential, and I know that these movies could be a lot better, but what can you do? The only other real strong problem I had was just the way this movie kind of wrapped up. And you really, really feel it within those last like 5 to 10 minutes. Like the final battle doesn't really even end. Like after Dry Bowser's destroyed, Bowser Jr. picks up his paintbrush and he's like, in the Bowser name! And then the Odyssey Dragon picks him up and he's like, oh, Dad, has someone help! And Mario gets the Galaxy Star and saves Bowser Jr. That's just kind of that. Like they just wrap up, and then Rosalina and Peach unite, and they have like some weird power now where they can like make life or something. I don't know, it's weird. After that, there's like this bit where the Lumas want to see Peach's castle, and Mario and Luigi are just like, oh, how do we tell them? And one of my friends literally made the comment of it genuinely felt like as if the writers themselves forgot about the castle, and they were like, what do we do? So yeah, Luigi's like, it died, and they go back to the castle, and there's just like this cut with no castle there. That was actually probably the funniest moment in this movie for me. I'm not gonna lie. But then Rosalina's just kind of like, let's just build a new one, and she uses her power to like put a builder hat on her head. But I'm like, that was such a missed opportunity to give us Builder Mario, especially because like the hard hat is in their closet earlier in the movie. So why? But yeah, it just kind of cuts to a montage in like the 2D pixel format, and it just felt very lazy. It felt like they either didn't have time to finish the animation, or they just chose not to do it, and it didn't really flow the best. Because right after that, there's like a really quick animation where Mario gets like the cape and flies up and puts the flag on top of the castle, and it just cuts to credits right there. So it wrapped up a little too fast for me, and I think the ending really could have saved it a lot for me. I still loved the movie, thought it was great, I really enjoyed it a lot. As a movie fan, it's going to be really hard to watch this going forward a lot. It really was the second time too. It felt even faster, if I'm being honest. But overall, I do think the movie was a lot of fun, and as a Mario and Nintendo fan, especially if you've played any game at all, you'll probably get some enjoyment out of this. Had a lot of smiles on my face, had a lot of laughs throughout it. I don't think it was quite as funny as the first movie, but I still enjoyed it a lot. And the 2 post-credit scenes, the first one, they literally showed in a trailer where it was the Lumily from the first movie, which really got on my nerves. They brought the Lumily back, and he's like, maggots, and he's talking to Bowser Jr., or I think they canonically called it a she, if I remember right. But we'll just say she for the sake of this video. But it was kind of just a one-off. And earlier on, I said I would talk a little bit more. I feel like they could have done more with these post-credit scenes. They kind of felt like an afterthought. And that's truly all they really were. Like the Bowser and Bowser Jr. are in the cell together, and they're trying to like escape. So it was kind of just a one-off. But like, I'm easier on mid-credit scenes. Like, they're usually goofy and really have no meaning to them. But the second one we get right at the very end teases Daisy, and I'm not gonna lie. So I did see that Daisy was in the movie prior to seeing the movie the first time, but I saw it on April 1st as an April Fool's joke. And I genuinely thought it was AI. I'm not even joking. I'm really not a fan of the design they went with for Daisy, and like I said, I genuinely thought it was AI generated. But yeah, we get to see her punch Ukiki, and it's literally the same thing, different font from the Sonic movie 3. It's kind of insane we're about to get a fourth one. Not gonna lie. But it's kind of like, you know, Amy shows up, doesn't say anything, but she just kind of like smiles or winks at the camera, and that's the end of the tease. But this was honestly a lot shorter and definitely not as well done. I kind of find it a little cringe sometimes whenever the character doesn't say anything, and it's just kind of like, ha, I'm gonna be in the next movie, you know? I don't know who's gonna voice her, and I really kind of hope they change her design just a little bit. I feel like it's mainly in the nose, and that's honestly a lot of my problem with Peach's design. She just looks a little too Illumination for my taste. But other than that, yeah, the Super Mario Galaxy movie is a lot of fun. Like, there's no denying it. Besides me just being really critical when it comes to movies, I had a lot of fun with this movie, and I've seen it twice now, and I will probably watch it a lot more. I feel like it may be even just a little more rewatchable than the first movie. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what Nintendo and Illumination do going forward, because it definitely looks like we're going to be getting a Donkey Kong movie soon, for sure. I feel like we're going to get a Star Fox, and maybe even a Luigi's Mansion movie. I think Charlie Day's commented on that, so that could be a lot of fun as well. Anyway, yeah, I had a lot of thoughts, and I know these thoughts were very scattered, so sorry about that, but hopefully it all made sense. Anyway, I think that's all I pretty much wanted to say about the Mario Galaxy movie. There is a lot more I know I could have said because I had so many thoughts. I had to stop myself from kind of dreaming about what I originally wanted out of a Mario Galaxy movie, and who knows, maybe one day I'll make a video like what the Mario Galaxy movie should have been. But for now, I'm just gonna have to sit on this one for a little bit and enjoy it for what it is. So like I said earlier, I have the Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 Amiibo right here, and we are going to be unboxing them, so let's do that. So you've now made it to the section of the video where I unbox the Mario Galaxy Amiibo, and whoa, these things are massive. Nobody clipped that. I originally wasn't going to get these day one, and technically I didn't. I was only going to get Rosalina though, and I talked myself into buying Mario, so I now have them both, and I figured, why not just do an unboxing? I also just thought it could be really cool to do like a joint Amiibo unboxing plus Mario Galaxy movie review. So I'm really excited to see what these look like, because you can see like there's just so much detail on these Amiibo, and I've only really kind of gotten a good look at them from within the box. So let's go ahead and unbox them. All right, so we got Rosalina and her Lumas. You can kind of see here, she's got her storybook out, and she's reading to these two little guys. And wow, the detail on this is just kind of insane. Like the chair, you can really see the wood details, and the base is just gigantic. It's kind of hard to believe, you know, because underneath it's got the standard Amiibo base that you would see on any other regular Amiibo, but on top they kind of went above and beyond and put this giant circle for her to sit in on the wooden chair. But even just like the detail in the hair and the way that the Lumas sparkle, it's just, I'm really loving the quality of these Amiibo. And the storybook also looks really good, and you can see kind of like on the back, if I can get this right, I'll take a video. But you can see the page in the storybook where Rosalina is holding a Luma, and yeah, I don't know. I'm really, really impressed with this. Kind of sad that wasn't in the movie though. They chose not to adapt the storybook, and it's very sad, but what can you do? But I guess I could also unbox Mario now. So let's get him out of the box. You can see back here they have a little twist tie that's keeping him held in place.
A few moments later.
Whoa. This is insane. So yeah, once again, this is a really big amiibo, and it's on the standard base that, again, any other amiibo would come on, but it also has the other base on top, which is really detailed. Recognizably, the first planet you visit in Mario Galaxy, you have the little hut and the warp pipe, as well as the warp star. You can see the detailing in the grass and the rocks, and it just looks so good. All the flowers, each one is just finely detailed. None of them kind of like seep into the other. They're all just kind of their own thing. And cherry on top, you got Mario and Luma jumping through the warp star. It's just gorgeous. And like even the trail he's leaving behind, it's all like sparkly and glittery. And I'm also seeing his overalls are textured. His hair is textured. It's all just so good. I'm loving the quality we're getting out of these new amiibo recently. It definitely helps justify the price a little bit. These were actually originally going to be $40, but they had a $5 price drop not too long ago. So $35 for these premium-esque amiibo, kind of not too bad, not gonna lie, because these really are more so just statues at this point than little minifigures. Like, let me get this. Like, let me show you the difference between Smash Mario. This was the first amiibo that released, and the latest one for Mario Galaxy. This is quite the difference. So yeah, I genuinely don't know how these are gonna fit on my shelf, but I'm gonna try my best, and I'll probably show you guys a video as to where I put them. But I am really happy with the way these look. They are a decent size, especially for what you're paying, and I'm happy to have these in my collection. I haven't gotten all of the Wonder ones yet. I know they released not too long ago. I only got Elephant Mario, but I plan to get Captain Toad and Poplin and Prince Florian at some point. I will say, for Rosalina, her lips, I'm not gonna lie, if I can get it to focus, like, they do look a little pale, to be honest. But I don't know if you can tell very clearly on the quality right here. But past that, really happy with the way these look. So with all that said, let me know in the comments if you picked up the Super Mario Galaxy amiibo, and if so, what do you think of them? Are we even still collecting amiibo in 2026 anymore? It's kind of the golden age to be an amiibo fan right now, besides the prices, at least. I remember not too long ago, just a little over a year ago, before the Switch 2 Direct, speculating if we'd be getting more amiibo in the future, and I don't think we have a shortage of them, to be honest. So yeah, with all that said, we have now talked about the Mario Galaxy movie, and we have now talked about, well, spoilers, but also I've showed you guys these amiibo. I don't even think they really do much in the game. Like, kind of annoyed that we still can't get, like, at the end of the day, this being on the back of the box shows where Nintendo's priorities are. They don't care about amiibo functionality. Amiibo really kind of feel like they're more targeted at, like, the hardcore amiibo collectors like me. And yeah, they kind of are justified for that. But yeah, so yeah, with all that said, let me know in the comments what you thought of the Super Mario Galaxy movie and what you think of these amiibo here, or if you plan to get them a little bit later. But other than that, stay awesome and have a wonderful day. Whoa!